While the great majority of cargo voyages end successfully, research by the UK P&I Club reveals that an increasing number do not. Cargo loss or damage accounts for 1 in 4 major insurance payouts. Many of these claims occur because behind the cooperative effort of shippers, receivers, cargo handlers, charterers and ship owners lie different interests. The first video in this series showed how recognizing this can help reduce losses. This video looks in greater detail at bulk carriers, identifying some of the most frequent causes of cargo claims and ways to avoid them. Nearly half of all major claims on bulk carriers in the UK Club stem from cargo damage. Dry bulk accounts for 1 in 2 cargo claims, followed by steel and bagged bulk. Water is most often the cause of damage, frequently the result of leaking hatch covers. As well as playing a major role in cargo claims, structural failure gives rise to 16% of all bulk carrier claims, 1.5 times more than the average for all ship types. Too many of these ship failures end in catastrophe. On bulk carriers, taking care of business can prevent loss of life as well as loss of money. Contamination is the cause of many cargo claims. It's easy to say these could be prevented if holds were prepared appropriately. But what is appropriate? If the same cargo is to be carried on the next voyage, it may be appropriate to shovel clean or not clean at all. For break bulk and some dirty dry bulk cargoes, sweeping may be enough. Grain clean may be specified for cargoes besides grain whenever the highest standard of cleanliness is required. But what exactly is expected? The best advice is never guess, always ask. On time charters, it's usual to consult the charterer. Whatever the circumstances, ask for written instructions. When and where these are carried out will depend. It may be unsafe to open hatches and work in holds during a ballast voyage. Labour agreements may ban crews from cleaning holds in port. Regulations may prohibit the discharge of cargo residues. So it pays to think ahead. Instead of taking risks like this, make sure cargo is swept off high points while it can still be easily reached. Even if stevedores and trimmers can't be persuaded to discharge all the sweepings, they should be pressed to leave a grab for the crew to fill. Easier than using the mucking winch later and worrying about what to do with the residues. If you must wash holds during the ballast voyage, it's better to do so when weather and sea conditions permit hatch covers to be opened enough to light up the scene safely. Cargo residues play a major role in contamination claims. Loose scale pollutes many cargoes. It's also a favourite hiding place for insects. Infestation will prevent the carriage of foodstuffs. But don't risk taking measures which might make the hold toxic for the next cargo. Ask for instructions. Water does the most damage to cargo. Check that manhole covers are correctly sealed and cover plates are in place. Take the opportunity to make sure sounding pipes are undamaged and clear. Hatch cover leaks account for almost half of all cargo claims. At the very least, be on the lookout for the obvious signs of trouble. Daylight showing through. Squashed or hardened packing. Corrosion or damage preventing panels seating correctly. Providing the hold is empty, hose testing is advisable. But it requires 2 men, and it can be difficult to spot the leaks. A chalk test can be done by 1 man, with cargo in the hold and even in freezing weather. Chalk is scraped along the compression bar and the hatch closed and reopened. The white line on the hatch rubber shows where it has made satisfactory contact with the compression bar, but it doesn't prove they'll continue to make a seal when the cover is cleated down. Ultrasonic testing can be done in any temperature by 1 man without special training. The hold can be empty or loaded. Leaks can be detected as accurately as by an expertly conducted hose test. As with other preventive measures, recording that hatch covers are being tested could be central to the ship's defence against a future claim. If salt water is used for cleaning, a rinse with fresh helps prevent corrosion damaging future cargoes and the ship. A clean, empty hold can reveal signs of damage or structural failure that are otherwise hidden. Where side shell frames meet wing tanks, there's a high risk of corrosion and cracking. The joins between transverse bulkheads and bulkhead stools are also vulnerable. The club finds that 2/3 of structural failure claims involve ships between 14 and 21 years old. But corrosion detached these frames from the side plating of a ship less than 10 years old. Bulk carrier crews shouldn't need reminding that heeding early warnings of structural failure can save lives as well as money. A dry hold is required for most cargoes. In suitable conditions, this allows the ventilators and their seals to be checked. For foodstuffs, the bilges must also be clean, dry and odour-free. Bilge well gratings are burlapped for fine cargoes. Lime washing is sometimes requested to prevent corrosion. Fresh paint can harm foodstuffs. A quick telex to cargo interests beforehand can save a lot of trouble later. Photographs and video recordings are increasingly used to supplement the ship's written records. The all-important pre-loading survey.
Last cargo was coal, yeah.
Checking before arrival at the loading port whether charterers have particular requirements helps you pass first time, even on those awkward occasions when the ship is ready but the cargo isn't. Damage which occurs before loading begins results in 1 in 10 major claims. There are millions of dollars to be saved by taking care to establish the cargo's apparent order and condition. There's a bonus for vigilance where dry bulk cargoes are concerned, because sometimes it's the cargo that damages the ship and puts lives at risk. The law doesn't expect a ship's officer to be expert on every cargo, but it does hold him responsible for spotting obvious defects. Bulk grain which is discolored, wet, sprouting, mouldy or infested. Ores contaminated with a foreign material. And unsuitably packed cargoes such as chemicals that can rot natural fibre bags. The condition of steel is so variable that P&I clubs have published a set of standard clauses for use on bills of lading. Even when it's agreed to clause the bill and carry the cargo, good records can defend the ship against a later claim that it was partly responsible for the damage. A careful inspection should also consider what effect the cargo offered might have on other cargoes and the ship itself. Could there be a taint problem? Infestation? Is this cargo dangerous? These IMO publications detail the chemical hazards of bulk cargoes, alone or in combination, and the extent to which they must be segregated. Water in the wrong place is a major problem. Simply clausing a parcel of steel wet before shipment won't protect the ship owner if it's put in a hold with dry steel, which rusts on the voyage as a result. Excess moisture can turn bulk cargoes into time bombs, at best decomposing, at worst self-combusting, or flowing like liquid until the ship capsizes. Even if ships were equipped to analyze cargoes, there would rarely be time to do so. Fortunately, the law obliges the shipper to provide details of the cargo's characteristics. The master should indicate before arrival that he'll require this information before loading. Any chemical hazards must be declared. So must the cargo's transportable moisture limit, the amount of moisture it can safely hold without liquefying, and its actual moisture content. The IMO Code of Safe Practice also details the physical properties of solid bulk cargoes. It includes a practical means of checking whether excess moisture has created a risk of flowing. The code also includes a method of measuring angles of repose to estimate how much trimming is likely to be required. At least 1 in 10 ships involved in major cargo claims shouldn't be, because the cargo is in poor condition before loading and they don't notice it. Don't be one of them. Insist on information from the shipper. Consult the books. And use your eyes. If that doesn't satisfy you, contact the club for advice and to arrange a survey if necessary.